Hello, and today we will talk about nouns. Yeah, don't believe everything that you can see on the screen. So, we are going to talk only about nouns because not only about pronouns. We will talk next time in our next video. Now let's go on and let us start with nouns. As usual, we'll talk about just details and nothing about a cat, cats, a woman, women, and so on. I'll tell you about some details, C1, C2 level, as for the level of grammar, which are usually not mentioned in the majority of typical grammar reference books. So, to cut our long story short, let's start. And let's start this time with their questions. So, they seem pretty simple. So that's why pause the video for some time and choose the correct option. Sometimes two options might be correct. Try while doing the exercise, try to think why you are choosing this or that option. And at the end of this video, I'll tell you some details. So pause the recording, pause the video. Welcome back. And let us start with the first issue, the talk about gender. So, our gender in English, you ask me, what are you talking about? In the English language, there is no gender. Of course, no, but still there are some words like, for example, a doctor, and you can say a male doctor or a female doctor, a male friend or a female friend, for instance. Also, you can use suffixes. For example, a businessman, usually it's about masculine variants of nouns. Yet, nowadays, there is a tendency not to use them at all, these suffixes, and especially about women's version. So that's why, for example, chairwoman, that is okay. It exists in the language. On the other hand, nowadays they mostly say a chair, and they're speaking not about a piece of furniture. That is about a job position. So that's why, if we talk about male and female today, their language is trying to avoid using such nouns and use something which is not about male or female. Now, some details about S at the end. Of course, everybody remembers about some nouns which have S, but they are still singular. And here it's pretty simple. Usually we make mistakes with news, because in Russian that is countable. In English it's uncountable, and has S at the end. So that's why quite often we say news are, but that is a mistake. And all these nouns take, is at the end. One more moment, when we speak about some specific measurement, and in this case, we use a singular verb, even if we speak about, for example, 2 meters, 24 hours. Here we speak about a specific measurement, and that is why it will be is, does, and or so on. So the first, just about uncountable nouns, like the news. The second moment about specific measurement, which should take singular verbs. The third moment here is a few nouns are more common in the plural form. And here we also know these words. The main problem for us being Russians is, for instance, clothes. We quite often say is, but are. So some nouns which are always plural. And And another issue here, it's a two-part noun, two-part objects. They are in the majority of languages, I believe they are plural, like glasses, jeans, scissors, trousers, and others. However, again, if we speak about my first language, so pajamas, that is quite a funny word, but pajamas, yeah, in English, they're always plural. So the first moment, uncountable nouns with S, like the news, some specific measurements which we use with is or has or does are always plural variants like goods, remains, stairs, and others, and some objects which can be divided into two parts, and they are always plural as well. So let's go on. And we are going on talking about noun-verb agreement. Pay attention to three moments here. There are three moments. Look, the first one. Look at the first two sentences. Read them. The most exciting event was the rowing finals. The most exciting event in the Sydney Olympics for most British viewers. It's not a choice. I want to say that here we can use both. Here only was, here was over. Why? Because the subject is very far from the verb. And in this case, we can use both variants. Yeah, sounds weird, but it's true. So when the subject and the verb are really far from each other, they are separated. In this case, they can be used with both singular and plural verb. However, if because of some reasons we have there something with commas, there will be only singular form. As one of my students told me about this situation, that they just forget what they used as a subject and use plural just in case. Probably, I'm not sure, but remember about this moment. The second moment, when we use what to introduce the subject, the situation is the same. Both variants are possible. So that is about my idea number one here. The second my idea is fish and chips. Chips, many. Is. Why? So that is the second, my question here. Because we speak about the dish here, not about every piece of potato are in your plate, on your plate, in your bowl. So fish and chips, it's about a particular dish, and that's why is. Almost the same idea. The birds, many. Why is? Because it's the name of the film. When we speak about the names, films, books, musical works, doesn't matter if it's singular or plural, we use a singular verb. Singular, plural. Some collective nouns can be singular or plural depending how you use them. I used to tell my students myself that when you have family, you can use both without any difference. There is. Look, if we have the family and we use it as a whole family, it will be singular. If we use the word family to speak about a group of individuals, it will be plural. And If we use a, it will be only singular. A team, are is impossible. A family, have is impossible as well. So the most typical nouns are here, but of course there are more of them. Uh, Almost finished talking about singular and plural. Look at the second part of this page and pay attention to the following words. At first, police, people, cattle. They are always plural. The police are, and the police they, their, not it, she, I don't know what other variants you can use. The police, they. The people, they. Cattle, they. One more, they are is here, adjectives plus there. When we use the there plus adjective to speak about a group of people, because here again we speak about people in general. For example, the blind, the old, the young, the unemployed. The unemployed are. It's a group of people. And when we have the majority, a number of, a couple of, plus a plural noun, we also use they and our plural verb. So a number of paintings were. It works like a lot of. You will never say a lot of paintings is. So a number of idea is the same. So with these words, we also use a plural verb. Singular, plural. Countable, uncountable. Here there is something very easy, so that's why I will not stop here for a very long time, but pay attention that, yeah, we have coffee, like a coffee, and I have a cup of coffee, or coffee as a substance, I don't know, material, what it is, liquid, yeah. So, there are a lot of such words in general. When you want to tell about at least some quantity of it, we can use a piece, a bit, a slice, an item, a lump, and other. There are a lot of words. They are pretty simple. The question here is about a different issue. Look here. Uncountable, abstract nouns. Why a trust and a love? How can it be? We can use articles with abstract nouns when we speak about a particular, a special feeling. So distrust in general, we use without any articles, but a deep distrust in this situation, we use with a. The same about love. And of course, when you want to say about different kinds of some items, we also can use plural, are about several essential oils or a soft cheese. It's a soft kind of cheese, for example, produced by this company. So that is about countable and uncountable. There are not many are interesting and special moments. So that's why let's go on. Possessive. Possessive, and here one of my favorite painters on the right, and some fact about his work. Artists made wearing a Turkish turban and a pearl earring of his wife's. Of his wife's. Why not his wife's pearl earring? Let's talk about it. We'll come to this question again, but at first let's look at the first four phrases. We have here brother-in-law's car. When we have any compound nouns, we use apostrophe s at the end of it. Not brothers-in-law, but brother-in-law's car. Now look at two variants and answer the question. Why? here we have only one apostrophe S, and here we have two. No, it doesn't mean that you can use both variants and there will be no difference at all. So I even will appear on your screen now to ask you this question. Why? Any ideas? Look at the idea of every sentence. In the first variant, when we speak about a brother and a sister, that was a present from my brother and my sister together. So they, I don't know, shared the cost of this present. So, and here the present was from sister and from a brother together. Whereas in the second example, there were two different theories. One theory belonged to one professor, and another theory belonged to another professor. So there were two different theories. You see, when we speak about a noun which equally belongs to two objects, we have only one apostrophe S. When we have different objects which belong to different people, we have apostrophe S next to each noun. And one more funny phrase. What happened with the baby in the last example here? Why it's a Connor's baby? We use apostrophe S when we have a noun which answers the question whose with a prepositional phrase. So when we have a prepositional phrase here, we put apostrophe S at the end. So of course the baby, in our example, the baby belongs to the woman without any variance. But because of prepositional phrase, at first we use the prepositional phrase itself, and only then we use apostrophe S. Prepositional phrase. Preposition is important here. And now let's come back to the portrait. And let's come back to this phrase. What does it mean? This is quite a common example. You probably quite often, a great deal more often have heard it in the phrase of a friend of mine. Just a thing which I want to underline here, that the meaning of this construction, a noun plus of plus noun plus apostrophe S, it means that it is one of several. For example, if you say a friend of my brother's, you mean that your brother has many friends and this person is just one of them. So a friend of my brother's. But pay attention, not a friend of my brother. Yeah? So, because if you speak about some unique person, for example, or about the end of the story, or you continue the story, it will be my brother's friend. Here in about this picture, idea is the same, that it was just one of many expensive pieces of jewelry which used to belong to his wife. And one more issue about possessive case. Look, possessive cases, we can divide into two groups. They can be specifying and they can be classifying. What is the difference? Look at two sentences. She washed the children's clothes. That is just some more information whose clothes they were. So just something that belonged to her children. In the second example, we have she has opened a shop selling children's clothes. It's not about some specific children. It's just clothes for all children. And not about theory. I'm not talking here about some theoretical part, but I would like to draw your attention to two moments, adjectives. For example, Look, if we put in the first sentence, if we put older in two different positions, what will change? Yeah, if we put it in the first variant, it's about her children. So, for example, older children were luckier today and she washed their clothes, whereas younger children, okay, it will be tomorrow. If we put older in the second position, so our children's older clothes, that is about clothes already. So like our new clothes she will wash tomorrow, or she has already washed them, whereas older she is doing now. So depending on the position of the adjective for specifying our possessive case, meaning also changes. However, in the second variant, if we write here not old, it's very strange to open the shop, but for example, expensive. And we put it at the beginning. But it doesn't mean that children are expensive. Yeah, no, children are expensive, I know. But in our example, it's not about children. That is about clothes. Classifying adjective before is about the whole phrase. Specifying position is essential. And we are coming to the end. The first one about possessive case. So there are some moments where we usually use S, apostrophe S. As for these positions, yes, when we speak about peoples or animals, usually we use apostrophe S. When we speak about general ownership, but idea is the same, usually something belongs to people. When we speak about time, today's, tomorrow's, yesterday's, mornings, and so on, but not with dates. When we speak about origin, so Saudi Arabia's, Shakespeare's, and others, where something is from. When we speak about quantity or measure, hours delay, 10 minutes drive, and so on. When we use worth, and some quantity or some value, a pound's worth of chips. When we speak about the names of shops, companies, and so on, that is a popular variant. And there are some fixed expressions. Of course, there are some fixed expressions at death's door, for pity's sake, for goodness sake, and so on. So these are moments when we prefer to use apostrophe S. Of course, there are some moments where they prefer to use of. The first moment, it's something that we all know when we speak about some abstract nouns about science, especially, for example, the bottom of mountain, the philosophy of science, when we speak about not people. Our favorite prepositional phrases are here as well. For example, the jeers of the people standing in the front row. So we have here something that answers with the front row, and yeah, we can put apostrophe s at the end, but they prefer to use of in this situation. Some specific year or some specific date when the sentence is very long. For example, an English tourist plus a name, like very long, and you will forget what you're talking about if you put an apostrophe s after 10, 12. So that's why in this case we can use of as well. And so the sentence is known by everybody: president of something, the prince of something else. These are the moments where they prefer to use of. And obviously there are positions where there are two options. One usually is more common, to tell the truth, but theoretically both are possible. For example, when we speak about some human creations, what does it mean? Like usually about countries, organizations, machines, buildings, vehicles, and so on. London streets or the streets of London. Both variants are absolutely correct, but the first is more typical. When we speak about equality, for example, ship's sheer size, the sheer size of the ship. Mm, no difference. However, here apostrophe s is usually used with human qualities. When we speak about the subject of something or the topic of something, the queen's portrait, the portrait of the queen, no difference. And our favorite word, sake, which is used quite often. So, for the sake of the children or for the children's sake. Of is more common in formal writing. But moments where two variants are possible. Now, here you are, the answers. Remember the test we started with. Look at the variants. Very fast, I will tell about each number. The first one, the chairwoman. Both variants are okay, but today I prefer the first one without mentioning their gender. Number two, it's because gymnastics, it has s, but it's singular, then use, remember? Number three, the subject is very, very, very far from the verb, but we have commas, and because of these commas, we use has. Number four, funny people, that is a movie, so that is why we use was, despite people. Number five, they're disabled. Remember, they're plus adjective. We speak about a group of people, so that is why have. Number six, it's about countable. Uncountable as tone is obvious. Number seven, both variants are possible because in the first one we speak about cheese in general, and in the second one, kinds of cheese. Sister-in-laws, compound nouns. A friend of mine, one of many. Wife's expensive car. The car is expensive, but not the wife. However, some men will not agree with me. 11, today's local paper with some periods of time, but not with dates. Number 12 are cheers of the crowd. So the idea, you can come back in the video and have a look one more time which variants are used mostly with of, which are with apostrophe s. 13 in the same tables. Here we can use both variants about the topics. And the last one, also from the same group of words, here, collection of short stories, which belonged to Graham Greens. That is all. So that's all here. That's all about nouns. Enjoy studying English. Have fun. If you have any questions, you're welcome. For today, that's it. Remember that English is a way of life. Bye-bye.